Righty. All right. Good evening, everybody. What's up? I do apologize for the delay. I was massaging Nancy Pelosi's feet. So just kidding. Maybe not. Give me a few minutes here. I'll let everybody hop on, and then we're gonna go ahead and get to it. Just a few seconds, though. No more. Good evening, Mr. Blutarian. Let's get that cheddar. Yes, sir. Make sure you leave a like if you guys don't mind. My massage your feet too. No, just kidding. Alrighty, y'all. Let's go ahead and let's get to it. We're live on YouTube if you want to check us out there. The latency is just as low as it is on TikTok nearly. So, all right. So recapping last week, U.S. And global stocks digested last week's gains, recording a slight loss. We saw the S&P down 1.2%. Nothing bad, pretty much staying in range. We saw the NASDAQ 0.97% to the downside, Russell 0.26% to the downside, and Dow Jones 0.94% to the downside. Fuel prices this weekend notched new all-time highs as countries around the globe are struggling to satisfy energy needs. And several big name, I'm sure everybody's heard this, big name CEOs are sounding the alarm on the economy and are taking preemptive action to prepare. We saw that note from Elon Musk. Can you look at CVX? Yeah, I'm going to be taking a request here in just a minute. I'm going to go over the news. And then, yeah, I'll be taking chart requests, answering questions, all that good stuff. Not massageful feet. All right. Actually, speaking of, let me pull TikTok up on the other phone because I got two phones for the plug. All right. Oh. There we go. All right. Now I can see you guys' comments, your comments, excuse me, you guys' comments. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right. Anyway, manufacturing activity surprised to the upside in last week's data on solid demand, but remain constrained due to supply chain issues. Economic data showed. Okay, I just had to double check something. Economics showed a labor market is still very tight, but many growth companies like Tesla, Coinbase, Gemini, and Loom are slowing and freezing hiring and looking to cut costs as small businesses are struggling to compete for workers as wages rise. Amazon rallied heavily ahead of Monday's 20-1 stock split, while Microsoft lowered its guidance as a strong dollar weighed on its financials. So anyway, if you guys don't mind on TikTok, please tap that screen. I do appreciate it. If you guys are going to drop in a request on me, that is all I ask. All right, so that's about it. I'm not going to cover much more from that. We're going to take a look at our economic calendar. So going into this week, the second week of June, we've got June 7th, we got trade balance, consumer credit, that's coming in at 830 and 1500. High impact on that trade balance. June 8th, NBA mortgage applications index, wholesale inventories, and EAI crude oil inventories. And then following up, of course, on the 9th and the 10th, we get that high impact data, of course, initial claims, continuing claims, EIA natural gas inventories, CPI, core CPI, and Treasury budget, University of Michigan's consumer sentiment coming in on June 10th. So, TA for AMC, yes. Yes, the best place to put your chart request is on YouTube. Alrighty. So I like to cover this, not necessary, but I like to cover it anyway. Earnings for this week. So not a ton of big players, but we do have a couple of that might be fun. Coop, Futu are all ones that could be interesting to watch on Monday. Of course, there's a Split Energy, UNFI. That one actually can move on earnings pretty well. Dave & Buster's, Cracker Barrel. I'm just kidding. I don't really think that's one to be watching for. But other than that, quiet week until Thursday, where we see Stitch Fix, Neo, Fuel Cell, DocuSign, Billy, all coming in. Those are stocks that I would be most excited about as far as volatility is concerned. So, all right, that is it. And just to give you guys a brief update, my watch just, I stick to stocks. And Facebook's still carrying a pretty interesting setup here that I'm going to continue to watch and look for either continuation to the upside, or excuse me, not continuation to the upside, but continuation to the downside after a key level break below 188. And of course, I'm not going to dig into this chart too much unless it's by request. And the reason being is because pre-market is going to really tell me everything. But the main levels that I'm watching both to the downside are 188 even, and then to the upside, I want 193.75. So those are the levels I'm watching on Facebook. Baba, so you guys know the deal. This one is turning over, and we still have an untouched resistance. We've got an EMA sitting around 105.66. We've got a major support level or resistance, at 101.59. And right below us, we have a support that we could lose at 91.50. So I'll be watching Baba both to the up or the downside. Both of them have gaps. So that is another one that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. Last one is Tesla. So Tesla actually has a really interesting chart right now. It has the setup, or the pre-setup, I guess, if you will, to the inverse head and shoulders. And you can see that as you kind of zoom in a little bit closer to the hourly. So shoulder, head, and then you can see that this HMA, which it doesn't really matter if you don't know what that is, but that is right around where this bounce level is. So let me mark this wick. Check that out. Resistance, right? If you want to, you can obviously give that the zone that it deserves. So between 673.88 and 680.50. If Tesla can drop to the downside and bounce there, there's not a bad chance that we see an inverse head and shoulders, which is a pretty awesome reversal pattern and spotted from the higher time frame. I'm not saying that the market's bound to reverse, but of course we have seen extended downside, so it is possible. Right now, I actually have resistance on Tesla all the way at 877.44. So I got you on AMC. All right, that's it. That's all I have. If you guys really want your any questions answered or any charts, and I miss them on TikTok, all you have to do is hit the link in my bio, go to the YouTube channel, and drop the request there. That way I can see it. So, all right. Are you going to go live in the Discord? No, I just stay live on the on YouTube, which I will be always doing Sunday lives, but we will not be doing a ton of lives during the week. I will, at least for the next month and a half, I will be just live in the Discord throughout the week. So kind of like Monday through Friday, Monday through Friday. And I'll be doing like Sunday updates. And what I'm going to be focusing on primarily is posting more video breakdowns on the specific stocks that I'm looking into taking either that week or going into that month. So, all right. So anyway, that's Tesla, and the first one that I saw was AMC. So let's do it. Let's see here. That looks like a dynamic trend line right there, and that's one right there. We got multiple wicks off of that. So I would say right now that AMC is likely to go down to this $11 mark, which is a key support zone. And this is going to be a difficult, if anybody hasn't told you this for hedge funds, and if I was to make a stand, if I was to stop putting liquidity anywhere else and actually try and do something that these people are trying to do by squeezing AMC and all that other good stuff, then I would be primarily focused on this zone. So over here, this is where the squeeze began. This is where the hype began. And you actually had, for once, you had a struggling institutionary short coming in, and actual retail dip buyers that were scooping up. Hold on one second. I'm a dad. Hey, kiddos. Hey, guys. Hey, Ellie, baby. It's time for bed, babe. I'll see you in there in just a minute, okay? Love you, babe. Yep, we need you bright. We need you to get sleep for more market predictions tomorrow. All right, so AMC's 14.50 and in between this $10 mark. That's really where you want to hit, but that $11 mark even is where support lies for me. If you lose that level, if you lose $11, and I would even say if you lose 10, more or less, 10's actually more of a solid support here. That's where you could see some extended downside, and unfortunately, that would lead AMC down into the dumps. So big bull trap. Well, I'm not really sure about that. About Bitcoin. And when people ask me about crypto, I just feel irresponsible answering that because my technicals, like technicals matter, but that's just not where my skill set lies. I've done some pretty good predictions, and I have bots that we've had built custom for our chat that don't exist anywhere else, just to track Bitcoin and the volatility that it has. But I just use those. So. Apple, yeah, we'll take a look at that in just a minute. All right, so the first one I see from YouTube is Ford. I don't know why I just typed in the whole word. All right, so I thank you again, past Garrett. I charted this already, so here you go. Just kidding. So downwards channel, and this is about. So this is actually a really good example. So anytime you're looking for a break to the upside, especially a break in downtrend, specifically, this is a rejection, right? How can we see that? We can see that by the massive engulfment candle. We can see that by the selling pressure right after hitting a point of control, as well as our resistance. But here we are accumulating, okay? So this is not direct selling, and you can see that buyers are holding Ford up at 1335. That is currently where Ford is holding. And then above you, and I like 1365, that's where most of your moving averages are, but that's also, right? And I'll zoom in. I know TikTok's probably squinting right now. 1 second. There you go. So take a look at this. Between, we'll call it 1397. Okay, there's 2 wicks there. That's enough for me. And that's holding it back from 14, right? No buyers that's hold. A lot of people shorting at 14. But then you have the 1338. So those, for me, give me clear levels, both to the up and the downside. Now, I like to do this. I like to find the median. Okay, that's basically just finding, dividing that supply or demand zone in half. So that mark, right, where you find the 9-day moving average and the 50-day moving average both hovering, right? So right there, that's going to be 1365 and that 1370. So really, it's up for debate, right? So making a prediction here, you could look at volume, you could possibly go look at block orders, you could go look at option flow, and those are things or tools that you could use to look at where money is going into Ford. I would say that the gap, so there's a small gap down here. So if 1336 is are lost, I would project that you drop down to 1314 pretty quickly and fill that gap. I just spotted one more thing that I can show you. Yep. Okay. So I got one more thing to show you, and I'm live charting, so I'm not like I had some of it. Look at that. So this. Oh my God. I wanna jump through my computer screen. This is so cool. All right. So if you're on TikTok, again, the best place to watch this and see it clearly is always YouTube. So, man, this is badass. And the reason why I like this so much is because it is, you guys hear me talk about it all the time, confluences, right? Where levels or dynamic trend lines, EMAs will all coincide and give you a level. So this is also multiple time frame analysis at its best. So right now, right, if we were to drop, we have now established that there is a dynamic trend line coming from May 20th, bouncing on May 24th, and then our gap just happens to be right where that support line is closest to us, right? That's 1318. So that being said, Ford, you could definitively say that if Ford lost $13, or just call it that, 13.20, $13, that you would be seeing a drop down to your nearest support, which would probably be around 12.50 to 12.35, somewhere in there. But on the other hand, you could drop down, and here's what goes through my mind right now, right? I just did a chart on Tesla. Okay, now hear me out. I just did a chart on Tesla, and Tesla has a bounce level that is really close by, right? So we could be seeing Tesla move down to 680, right? That's its bounce level. Pretty much the same distance, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. And then we can look at Ford, where Ford has just a little bit of move to the downside before it hits its support. So it is not outlandish to say that it's possible to see a red to green day. Maybe you see a red day here and a little bit of accumulation, and then you come back up and you possibly go for that resistance. So I would say right now it's up for debate. And let daily candle closes. So if you get a big red candle and you lose that 13.15, then I would say that Ford has rejected this downtrend. But that's the beautiful thing about this chart right now is you are up against resistance, and it's up for anticipation. It's up for what word am I thinking of that I just totally forgot? English is my first language. It's up for debate, right? It's not, there's no, the levels both to the up and the downside haven't been broken. And so there is real no definitive move here. The best thing is that, you know, if you're playing with equity, then, you know, you can do it that way, maybe using options to hedge. Or if you're going long, you can always leg in if you see the right type of price action. So move from TikTok to here. Welcome, Dank Johnson. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate all of you. Nice. Yeah. YouTube is bumping. If you guys don't mind on YouTube, leave a like before you leave tonight. I do appreciate it. Sorry guys, my phone died over here. Right here. It's turning back on, so I haven't been able to see TikTok relevance, but I'm getting back. Hold on. All right. Anyway, so I actually really like this chart. If you're a small account and you're watching this right now, remember, if you're learning, the first part, the first level to getting to doing this on your own, right, is to find a setup, make it make sense, right? Like double check yourselves. Obviously, you see my chart. Go make it make sense for you and set up a play that works for you. It's there. There is what happened to my screen. The screen, is it broken? Is it frozen? No, my screen's fine. I think. Yeah, my screen's fine. Bad resolution. Oh, maybe that's weird. Did it just fix? Okay. Cusco. All right. Okay, cool. All right. So anyway, take a look at this chart, digest it how you will, but there is a play here, and I think it's a play that's patient spaced, but it's here. And so let this trade. You know how they say, let the trade come to you. I'm setting alerts right now all over this, the downtrend, the key levels. You can use the moving averages. Whatever you need to do, you could even use the RSI if it drops below that 50. You can do all of those things. But anyway, that's Ford. The next one that I see, we've got Tesla and XOM. Actually, Apple as well. I'm going to go ahead and break off and do Apple really quick. I've had a lot of requests for that one, and we'll go ahead and do Tesla next. By the way, TikTok, look at this can. Isn't that, I don't even know if wholesome. Like, feel good to be about it. This looks like something that guy always starts his videos by saying, "Hey, buddy," or whatever. He's in the forest. Okay, so we have a similar chart here. Now, this is badass. This chart is totally wrong, but it's badass because I know what the right chart's supposed to look like. It didn't save correctly. So let's take a look at this. We're going to start on the hourly time frame, okay? So not to be ignored, right? Boom, bada, bing. right there. Channel top, like that. Go ahead and get rid of these funky lines. So, Apple, look at this. Now, the only difference here, right, is there is still, we can fall further. Right now, we're sitting dead center in the gap. And please know that where we open up will decide everything. So when I'm giving you all my analysis, I'm giving you my thoughts on what the setup is now. The setup can change if we were to gap down, okay? If the entire market gaps down, hear me out here. We have just looked at Ford, we have just looked at Tesla, we have just looked at Apple. Most, obviously Tesla's been excluded. Most of these companies are running with the S&P. They all carry the same setup. So Apple can lose support, gap down, and give us an inverse head and shoulders. The inverse head and shoulders does not need to hit the exact same level that it did over here, which is all the way at 138. Apple could satisfy that bounce at 141 to 140 even. So those are levels that I'd be watching for Apple to the downside. Now, it's not to be ignored at all that there is obviously or was an rising wedge here, but that is since obviously extended, and that's something that I teach you guys as much as I can. Is the reason why I give you guys 50% marks. Normally, if you see a rising wedge, don't be greedy, play the setup, because that 50% mark can be deadly. I think Facebook was an exception last week when we did that badass trade. That was a bit of an exception, but here's something, obviously, here we need to, we don't have that same selling pressure or that same dynamic that we did have that week. You don't use pre-market. So I do use pre-market data, but what I'm most, okay, so let's talk about that for just a split second. Pre-market data is great, okay? And I don't think there's a right answer here. So people use it and some people don't. Some companies, it makes more sense to use it. A lot of money is coming in pre-market and post-market. It is up for, I wouldn't even say debate. I think it's really up for, it's up to you. You have to look at it. If it makes sense on the chart and pre-market data is shown that it's gone. So for example, in pre-market, if I see that a stock has gapped up a lot and then pulled back, I'm going to go and look for a dynamic trend line. So I'm going to usually in pre-market turn on pre-market data, both to mark my pre-market highs, right? Because what other strategies can we use with pre-market data, right? We use orb strategy. That's a strategy that they make you pay for, by the way. Orb strategy is simply going, and I explain this every time I go over it just so people aren't left being like, no, I want to know what that strategy is. Essentially, you mark your pre-market lows and your pre-market highs, right? I don't think that's pre-market. I think that was aftermarket, perhaps. Yes, so that's the open. So you mark your pre-market highs and your pre-market lows, and you can use those if the setup is obviously there to take a trade to the up or the downside. A lot of scalpers use this, especially scalpers use the orb strategy, which means that they're more or less looking for a very quick in and out, right? So pre-market highs, and I'll make this quick, right? Because I don't want to pull away from charting, but pre-market highs are here. Pre-market lows are here. So, and actually, so this right here would completely negate, and you'll hear Manny say it, and that's why every day is different. This is not playable for me, right? Because the range set in pre-market is too wide. If the range had held this area, right? So if it was just, if it was just here, then it wouldn't be an issue, because then I could see rejections off the top, and then I could take that break to the downside. But anyway, the answer, the short answer here is pre-market data is worth charting, okay? It's worth looking at. But I primarily, because of, I want to see what the daytime data is and how it fits together. That's going to be where I'm put my focus. When I do charting on the weekends, that's where I put my focus. When I do charting in the mornings, I'm using pre-market data. Okay, so just to, if I haven't ever made that clear, that's just how I do it. And again, that's not something that I have the answer for, like the right or wrong answers, because oftentimes I think it's my answer to it is I just think that it's worth it. I think it's worth always looking at. Um, so what do I mean by the 50% mark? So let's see if I can find a rising wedge really quickly. I feel like I can. Where is a rising wedge that we just played? We just played one not too long ago. Apple. Sorry, I had to remember which one. Okay, so this is just I'm gonna give you the most simple answer, because I could go on and on about this. So rising wedges. Actually, no, we're gonna move to Bank of America. Okay, cool. All right, so let's look at this. Right, this is a rising wedge as we see it right now. Normally, when and this came observation first, right? So I didn't know any better. I just was charting rising wedges and I was playing them, and I was making the mistake of trying to take it past that 50% mark on the lower time frames. I'm being specific there for a reason. The lower time frames. But so hourly, okay, 50% mark. If I see a rising wedge on the hourly, there's no reason to be greedy. If I see a 5 minute rising wedge on the 5 minute, right, then I'm looking at scalping that, and there's definitely no reason to be greedy. But you'll notice here, right, and I think this is a great example. So from the height, from the low to the high, and then measuring from the top to the bottom to that 50% mark, right? That's normally where you will see an extension into a channel. Okay. That does not always happen. It is not. And again, that's the one thing about rising wedges. If they have lower volume and there is no reason for them to be going down, then oftentimes it's just a pullback, especially if it's on the lower time frame. But anyway, this from the top right there, you can see we're just a hair away from that 50% mark. But I'm really giving it, I try to be accurate with my measurements here, but so really it would be right there. So we're just a little bit away from it. That's not in a book. It's not anywhere out there that I have found. It's just time in the market. If you want, so our goal when we're making a trade is to make a plan. And the plan is to find an entry and an exit. So if I see a rising wedge, that's how I find my exit. That's how I find my target. I don't look past it. I'm looking at that time frame. I'm going and looking at the higher time frame to see what the setup is and where we're at. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm taking the trade. So sell at the high. So and again, it's case by case, and I wish I had more rising wedges on my chart here to show you all. Um, I got one more. I got one more. But this one actually didn't. This is a good example. Okay, this is a great example, and I'll show you where it bounced. I'll show you one more time, y'all, because this is probably a better example. Maybe not. Hold on, that might not be the wedge that I thought about or was thinking about. Never mind. That's not the wedge that I was thinking about on Bank of America. I think it might have been on a different stock. If I find another one, or if we see another one, I'll go ahead and I'll break it down. But for the most part, and I promise you, if I'm going to write it down right now on my notepad, because the next time I see a rising wedge, I will make sure to point out the 50% mark. Those of you who have been trading with me, no need for explanation because you guys have seen it yourselves. So, all right, let's keep it moving. The next one, I think it was Tesla, was the next one. So I've gone over this one. I'm gonna keep it quick again, but obviously there's people hopping on. Let me pull up TikTok. Slacking over here. Sorry, TikTok. All right, we're good to go now. I see you. You see your comments now. SPY has a rising wedge. Do that one then. AMC. No, that's a different one. And I'll say one more thing, okay, about rising wedges. Um, I see one right now, actually. Now that or a wedge. I see a wedge, not a rising wedge, but here's a wedge right here. Let me tell you guys something that I've learned from experience on wedges, okay? There is always a chance that you're going to be wrong, okay? That does not stop me from that is always a factor. It'll never go away, and as soon as you get over it, you'll realize that sometimes you just have to take the position. Tesla moved up, and then on the next day gave us the first solid candle and a complete engulfment of the previous day's gains. That's enough for me. And honestly, I probably would have been in before. But this is the type of setup where you can, again, you just have to set. I usually will look at the third wave. It has to hit, for me, a good clean wedge needs to hit resistance 3 times. And it needs to go, it on the second bounce of support, it needs to go for resistance for that third time. That way, the third bounce is the break. But anyway, you'll notice that from the high to the low, that Facebook literally chops around at that 50% mark before obviously falling further. But that further downside, I'm sure, can be identified here by the lack of buying pressure at that 860 mark. So that's a wedge. There's multiple different forms of wedges. There's falling wedges. Um, for me, that's not a definitive bear flag. I mean, they all mean the same thing, and they can be played the same way. But normally, a wedge has 2 lines that could potentially intersect, where a bear flag can look more like a channel, like a literal channel. So this would be more like this, right? Where again, there's a lot of wicks up there, but that just shows more. So that would be a bear flag, right? I'm not ignoring the fact that there are wicks here, right? And that can give me a more accurate depiction of where this actually may reject. I also have the 200-day moving average here right on cue. So how am I feel, bro? Are you a day trader or a swing trader? I day trade and swing trade. That's primarily my focus is. Wow, that's the great distinction between a bear flag and a rising wedge. Awesome. Yeah, so that's the difference there. Anyway, so and don't get wrapped up in the technicals. You know, who cares what they're called? You know, you can call them whatever you want. They could be, they could be anything. They could be bare toes if you want them to be. I mean, they could be anything. All right, so XOM, and you guys know Rolly's got you, but I feel very strongly, and so does he, that there is a pullback coming, and I don't think I think that's like it's almost impossible at this point not to see some type of pullback, and they want that to happen. I mean, well, they don't want that to happen, but I'm sure that that's something that in order to keep the American public from not freaking out, that is a possibility. But I have just on a technical basis, because my opinion of gas doesn't matter at all. But XOM has a resistance, 1, 2, and it looks like you may actually go for your third tap. So I would really, 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 really pay attention to that $100 level. And so this is the beautiful thing about multiple time frame analysis. So take a look at this, right? So confluences, I need them. 1, 2, 3, that's support. Look at the 200-day moving average. Moving in sync, right? Alongside that support line, giving me, letting me know that all of these moving averages are acting supports and as well as confluences. Confluence meaning, if you're just new here, that it is running alongside or intersecting with a resistance in order to give me an extra layer of verification on that. So anyway, the cool thing about this chart, multiple time frame analysis, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you go up and you hit this resistance one more time, there's a good chance that this dynamic trend line will be that break for you. So what I would do is set that dynamic trend line. I would add an alert to it. I would add an alert to this top trend line if you have the same one, which is around $100. And then I would set in a trend line, because remember, trend lines are great, but key levels are key for a reason. The key level here is 96.85. 96.85, you'll likely drop to 95.66. I obviously not going to predict the price action there, but I would anticipate seeing XOM back down into the 92s on that pullback. So keep up, homie. Thank you. I don't know if that felt like a lot. Spanish. I do not speak Spanish. I will speak Spanish, but not right now. I'm trying to learn languages. I got a lot going on, you know, my brain can only handle so much. All right, QQQ. How do I determine key levels? That is an amazing question. So you're looking at one, all right? Key levels. Now, psychological numbers can be brought into this thought or into this equation, but the main thing here is I'm looking for respect. All right. So if you're on TikTok here, I want you to squint or go to YouTube so you can see I'm trying to zoom in for you. But this is a really good lesson if you're trying to find levels. Okay. Why do we find levels? Right. So that's a big question. Why do we even do that? Because we know that that's either where buyers or sellers are sitting. And depending on how well respected that level is, we can determine the potential strength behind it. And then from there, this is how it works in my brain. I go look at volume and I feel market sentiment. And those two factors will give me an indication on whether or not that level will be broken. There is some harmonics that are added into there. I usually like to see a support hit 3 times for a break. But anyway, the key level here is 1 wick. Okay, we got a really strong wick here on May 31st at 304.24. Then on June 1st, we get a bounce and candle close at 304. We also get a candle. The next hourly candle opens up on that same level. It bounces up to the upside, reverses, pulls back, and bounces right around that 304 level. So that 304 level is obviously a key level. Now, I don't trust that yet, right? That's only in the lower time frame. I want more. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to open it up a little bit and I'm going to say, okay, cool. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 areas where I see multiple levels of respect. The one thing that a lot of people don't disclose is, and this is where a lot of people, new traders will get wrapped up in this. Don't let it go. It's not going to be perfect. You got to see through the noise. Yes, there are going to be wicks, right? Because guess what? People are trying to short support. And what are we trying to do as market makers? If you are a market maker, you're trying to take the most money from the most people most of the time. So if somebody's trying to short support, which they did because people didn't get in here, and so they wanted to get in here, you smoke them and you squeeze them out. You get them to squeeze them back out. You rip it back down. They doubled down. You squeeze them to hell. That's exactly what you see right there. And then the next day you fall right back in. So you're literally inside of this channel, and I would just let it be that guide, 310.65 and 304.10. So I just did the analysis on QQQ and told you about key levels. But so for QQQ, you've got a gap to the upside. You are at a little dynamic trend line as well. Right there. Now, this is kind of wonky. Don't even really want to show you. It does look like there is some respected trend line there. I don't always buy it. But if we were to fall or jump down, this could be another megaphone. We've seen a lot of megaphones over the last month, which is really weird, and they're usually on this hourly time frame. But we don't care about megaphones. We care about key levels. We need to see that 304 and 303.50. 303.50, and the Qs would likely fall down into the gap at 299.35. Otherwise, QQQ back above 308.80. One could anticipate a possible push past 310.75 into a gap up. So you take it where you can get the majority of touches. The sideways volume, that is called volume profile, and I use visible range. Okay, there's a difference. You can set a fixed range, so that way you can see where the majority of the volume is and set it there at. So it's, when I say fixed range, it's talking about the amount of days that you're looking at. So right now I can zoom into this pattern with this visible range, and it will tell me where the volume is just right here. And I can see that in this pocket, right, the point of control is 306.72. That's where the majority of the volume lies. And there you can see that indicator. Games, what is this? That's not what I said. I guess it's GameStop, dividend, and stock split all passed. Moon soon. I don't know. They kind of diluted it. My channel is constantly stalling. Really? That sucks. I'm sorry. YouTube shouldn't be stalling. All right, so I think we're gonna keep it moving, y'all. PayPal. Oh, wait, yeah, PayPal is next. All right, so let's take a look at PayPal. We're gonna start at the daily. I haven't looked at this in a minute. Looks like, hold on, we're gonna start fresh. Aha. Okay, so starting from the highs, running to the lows, starting from the lows, running to the lower lows, I spy with my large eye. We've got a channel here. We've got 2 taps. I might be able to call that 3, but we'll call this the second tap of support here. PayPal is not showing off volume-wise. I will say that this daily candle here would have been nice. You do have this doji here, and these can often be reversal candles, showing indecision the day after you just saw a big push. Let's chart this out. Starting from the lows, pulling it up to the highs, starting from there to there. Kind of looks like a bear flag, right? What did we just talk about? Bear flags, 2 channels. Let's fix that up, clean it up a little bit. And if you guys are on TikTok, make sure to tap your screen. I was about to call the internet company. Should I restart the TikTok stream really quick? I don't mind. Maybe it's just... Amazon. All right, so Amazon is next. I'm going to start with the 15 because that's where I've got a setup for you. You've got 1, 2, 3 taps of support. You do have a untouched resistance here. Amazon does have the split. Listen, let's talk, because I saw someone make a video on this and I thought it was kind of silly for them to even point it out, but whatever. Amazon and Tesla, Apple and Tesla split have nothing to do with Amazon. The price action is totally the different. It's not the same, right? I think I gave if anybody remembers, I gave a prediction for Amazon to hit 2,500, and it literally hit 2,500 and it pulled back and it stayed there. The difference between this split and last split is that we dumped our asses off into it. Okay. And we've known about it for a while, and it wasn't enough. Buyers aren't here. Buyers are not present. So I don't think that it's a immediate upside play. But what I do think is that that Amazon has a resistance around 25.75, and that this setup that you see right here could, and please, I'm just, don't quote me on this. I'm just telling you what I see for right here. You could get a small pullback, 24.22, or you gap down I'm not sure. Again, remember, tomorrow's open has everything to do with everything. Tesla or Amazon could have already bounced off of this and be up here at 25.75. If it is, then I'm going to feel a little bit more hesitant. But above that 24.65, I wouldn't say that it's out of the question to go up towards that part. But I would watch this 25.18. So, what's up, everybody? Um, it was lagging before. It's better now. All right, cool. If you guys don't mind tapping your screen, the split happened. Yes. So the split, unblocked road. So what I'm talking about is the after split, right? So Tesla did, and again, I'm not trying to use them too much as an example right now, but Tesla, when they split, okay, right here, they ripped to the upside, right? That's the split day, August 31st. The next day, a little to the upside, and the next hour was spent dumping horrendously. So the difference, right, is that we were in a raging bull market and we are not now. And I think that's an important factor to think about. So, I do think that the market has bleed up potential still. I still do. Um, I think that that could be very easily changed, especially with like all of these economic or these CEOs talking shit about the economy. But again, all right. So let's keep it moving. The next one is SQ. Everything is red. What the hell? Yes, sir. My daughter predicted that we're gonna pull back, so we'll see. All right, so I already have this charted out. This is a wedge again. Uh, it's not a bear flag, more wedge-like. So watch for a SQ around 75.50, but but patterns don't matter unless they're broken. And in breaking, a lot of the times people get wrapped up in the technicals and they don't look at the like the hardcore. Okay, SQ has $80. What would happen if SQ bounced at $80? It would channel up, right? And that's possible. It's 100% possible for for this to channel, or we call it a wedge extension. The wedge is simply not strong enough to give you further downside, so it's probably just going to extend by bouncing. So if you do bounce, and I give you two levels, you've got $80 even, and you've got 79.31. Those are two levels to watch for SQ to bounce. If SQ does bounce, maybe wait, lay off, and let it cross back up against that point of control. Everything is red. Yeah, welcome to YouTube. Thank you. This is so educational. Like, how is this free? Just think of me like a Robin Hood, but for course sailors. It is maybe it's a selfish endeavor because it makes me happy when they're. I can't tell you guys. I've been doing this for years now, and I have seen more ads for courses being sold, and they're paid, and they're from individuals who never had to do that before. That means that their sales are plummeting, probably because people aren't in the market as much. But secondly, I think people are obviously realizing that you don't have to do that, that there are people out here that will help. So that's right. But remember, when you're stealing from I mean, if you're looking at it like that as a market, like the Robin Hooding the market, remember, Robin Hood always took a little bit at a time. He didn't take the whole lot. He could have, but he didn't. Remember that when you're trading. Don't be greedy. Um, Can I? Yeah, I have a week trial. My Discord has. If you guys sign up, the only thing is, and I got to go to the website and type it out. And I do apologize, but it takes your debit card and you just have to take a picture of the key. So send him stuff for his kids. Yeah, send me stuff for my kids. My son, some of the members of the Discord sent my son money for his birthday, and he ended up having a lot more than I was like, kind of like impressed. But I ended up buying him V-Bucks. That's what people sent it for, and so now he's like rich in Fortnite, and he won't talk to me. I'm just kidding. He asked if he could move out. What do I think of some supply and demand trading? I think it is an essential skill that you must learn. You must learn about supply and demand. As far as this, there's multiple different strategies, but you are literally looking at a chart that is a supply to supply, or to demand to demand to demand. Like it is literally one after another. And I can show you here because you can see it clearly, this zone here, right? So you get perfect breaks, you get established walls, and then you get nice breaks to the downside. So, but I think that's something you have to learn, right? You don't want to be, it's even if you don't use it in your trading, it's something that will help you. So, being open-minded is probably the best thing that you can do for yourself as a trader. So, but how you join is simplestacksinvestments.com. But if you are joining, and I say this every time because I don't do this stuff to advertise. I just do this stuff. We put out analysis. We've been doing this stuff before we had a Discord. Um, if you are new, we do not want you to join. Okay, and that's not a mean thing. If you are brand new, there's too much for you to be doing that doesn't require you to pay any money. And that's the main point here is my Discord is all of the education is free. There's plenty of spots in the Discord for this month. So if you've been trading and you feel confident and you're willing to put in the work to start building something for yourself, that's why we're here. If you're looking to just take signals forever, you're probably not gonna like love it. There are signals there, but we're also kind of asking people to, and we encourage people to start trading on their own and finding setups on their own. So anyway, Santa Noah, listen, dude, I used to hang off of buildings doing high-rise window cleaning, wood flooring. I've had every job in the book, dude, and I've somehow made sense of this in a way that has changed my life, obviously, in multiple different ways. But regardless, it's going to be hard. I think that if you just accept that it will be hard and you're willing to grit your teeth and get it, like that's just it. That's just it's an attitude thing. Like, yeah, there's some people who just, and I really think that if you come into that with that attitude, that's what you need. But there's a lot of people who come into this and they just expect the gains to come, and they have a bad attitude, and those are the worst. They just end up failing. So, what do you give no importance to supply and demand zones or support? I would say that supply and demand are probably most important. Also, we'll be doing after I got a Universal trip with my son next week, but when I get back, I have been writing just a quick TikTok beginners course. So I'm literally going to be on YouTube, and I'm just going to, it's not even a course. I'm just going to be going over basically my step-by-step process on how to get started. And I'm probably going to be doing this like once a month. So there's a lot of changes that are going to be coming, guys, in the next couple of months. One of the reasons for the Discord change, but that's one of them. So you said, "How? What? You're?" I feel you. I'm 15 right now. I got my first job this summer. I'm really making money now, so I can learn. And if I mess up, I eventually got until I'm 18. That's how I'm seeing it. That's good. That's a good way to look at it. Have a moment with yourself, dude, because if you're 15, I absolutely commend you for putting your nose into something like this. Amazing. I'm sure multiple people were proud of you, dude. That's dope. And you're taking the initiative to go and do it. But I would say, always start small. So don't put anything that you're willing to lose, because you can still be saving up money on the side. So if you make a big gain, don't be scared to put that to the side. And I tell people that a lot. If you want to change your trading game and you know that you have like certain months where it's good and certain months where it's not, and you have a lot of learning to do, if you're somebody who can be real with yourself and say, I have more learning to do, then you're somebody who can delay gratification and take the money that you earn on a lucky play or a great play that turned into an amazing play, and you can start yourself over because either the market will do it for you or you can do it for you. So you that's the choice that I tell people. But that's the only recommendation I would give you, dude. But otherwise, man, just learn as much as you can, ask as many questions as you can for me. And as you know, other content creators, if you have any questions on other content creators that I recommend. But that's amazing. What is the server? The link is in my bio for the TikTok or for the Discord. So futures are currently opening green. Good stuff. Okay, cool. I started by using paper trading. So paper trading is good, but I will tell you that it is worth putting real money into. Um, you need to feel it. You need to feel the pain. You need to feel the, I don't want to use pleasure because it sounds kind of weird, but you need to, will you always live stream for your Discord? Yeah. As long as it's in existence, I always live stream. I don't do it. I try and get everybody to come to YouTube because it helps me help you. Yeah. Tom Cruise style, but like always stream and trade live, and that's where I'm going to be for the next month and a half. I won't be trading live always on YouTube and stuff like that. I just have a crazy month coming up, so I'm going to be primarily in the Discord. So paper trading lacks the emotions, right? It does lack the emotions. It's not bad. It's good because you need to learn. If you really are, if your mindset is right, it can be very good because you can set the amount to something that's realistic. And the way that I did it, and I didn't do it long, and I still failed afterwards, but it gave me something to fall back on, right? So if you just jump in with real money and you learn a lot of these lessons, like it's going to be a constant like going back and figuring it. But if you have the structure and the execution of it, then you have something to fall back on when you emotionally fail. So, do I think the bear market will turn soon? Unfortunately, I don't really see any reason for the market not. I almost am anticipating a kangaroo type situation soon, where we might see some sideways price action. But unfortunately, I think that the troubles ahead that are looming will show up. And I think that we have a very small amount of time. And I think that in that time, we could continue to bleed up, like I said before. But in that time, if we buy time until earnings, I think that's when we're going to see the next big fall. And I think that you're going to see some companies even take it to the chin. But that's just what I think. Who cares what I think? So, does TOS allow paper trading on desktop? Yes. Their iOS app is hard to practice. Yes. Both yes and yes. All right. A lot of the paid memberships never have good hits, and they only come out when their membership drop and need new members. I only give one a chance. Supply and demand never lie. Never. I think I misread that. A lot of Yeah, I agree, Jay. That's absolutely right. I've actually considered deleting the gains page because I don't want. We're not the same. Like I'm not running a signal chat. I want to find people who really want to be able to wake up in the morning and not need anything else except for themselves. And I think that if people believe in themselves, and I know it sounds corny, but if you actually believe that you can do it, and you know that you have like some type of awareness about your mental, like, and it does take being real with yourself. Hey, I'm being greedy. This is what I need to do to stop. Or this is what I need to do to not tempt myself, because a lot of the things that people want to do in their trading require personal change in their life, because one thing bleeds into another, right? If you're greedy in real life, or if you're emotional in real life, and if you're immediately reacting to negative outcomes with negativity, or just blowing up at that type of stuff, it's going to be no different here. You know what I mean? So a lot of people just have to either create a structure or plan that protects themselves from themselves, right? Or they have to work through those issues, which there's a little bit of both, but and upset when people post or talk about their current winter cups, right? Does chat gains chat? Yeah, I definitely. Are reverse splits always bad? Maybe not. Always bad. There's some, I guess, positive situations. I'll tweet it out. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, make sure to do that now. But I'll tweet out the website. I think I do this every day. It's pretty cool. That's weird. Um, all right. Oh, the Gap trading account was not. It was. It's kind of like hard to like break this down for people without giving out too much of my life. I don't have access to it anymore. Not around that person. It was a partner, so I just didn't have don't have access to it anymore. So, um, stop trading. Bitcoin thoughts. I will buy Bitcoin at 10K. I'll just say that because most of the time, nobody likes that, and they're like, yeah, this guy knows nothing about crypto, which makes me feel more comfortable because I don't know anything. Crypto T, uh, crypto weatherman. Uh, that's it. Yeah, I mean, like, but yeah, that's I don't follow a lot of crypto guys. I promise I'll put more work into crypto so I can chart it for you guys, but I have bots that do that shit for me. I'm just like everybody else with crypto, okay? I'm just like everybody else. There's no difference. I'm sure if I focused on it and traded it, but as far as like learning about the intricacies of that's something that I would love to put myself in a position to learn from the people who know better. I don't. Bruh. Yeah, I got you. Alrighty. So, ooh, I am every stream, every in stream half the time. So awkward. Did someone really ask what Discord is? Oh, dude, I'm literally looking at the wrong chat right now. That is the old one. Hold on one second, y'all. There it is. I'm looking at the. Okay. Crypto Weatherman rage quit TikTok because everyone started calling him out. For what? He rage quit. Why'd he rage quit? You know what though? I don't follow that stuff enough. I don't know what happened, but it's like a modern AOL chat room. Yeah. It is kind of actually like a modern. Yeah, it is. That's a. Yeah. TTM Red. All right, let's look at AMD, and I'm gonna go ahead and slow down here. What is my favorite crypto? Bitcoin, because I don't know anything. All right, wow. So it looks like we got a channel now. Um, man, okay, so AMD is likely right here. Check it out. Take a look in a book. There you go. All right. So what we are dealing with right now is, and you guys just heard me, right? I just said it. I like 3 off the top and 2 on the bottom. Sounds a little weird, but this is exactly what I want to see if I want to go short. Now, 1, 2, that was my resistance. What does it become now? My support. What is it? 103 and 102 even. Below those levels, you've got 100 even, and if you lose 100, you will go to 95. There you go. If you do not, and you move above 109, and you get a break in downtrend, then that's a whole different story, and you're probably going to a 111.33. I would say 111.33. If you move above that, then we're probably moving into a different market. But what indicators do I use for my chart? I'm happy to answer that really quickly. So number one, I use EMAs. I use the 200, 50, and 20 EMA. Um, and that is by DK Swag on TradingView. That is the indicator maker. I use the whole ribbon indicator. So a lot of people, I didn't have this up previously, but this big old ribbon that you see on my chart, that is another indicator that I use that is using two whole ribbon moving averages. It's essentially like a MACD, but with the ribbon, and it also acts as a moving average. So if you cross below it, i.e. right here, then you can consider possible downside, or if you cross above it, you can consider possible upside. And then as you move to the upside, you can determine the strength, right? So not much strength here. You didn't get much from this ribbon, and then you immediately reject, and the ribbon opens right back up. So I like that one. 9-day moving average. I use that primarily for scalping from the hourly to the 5. I use pivot points here and there to back up my levels just in case things aren't super clear to me. So for example, the level that I just gave you guys on AMD, that 98.60 and possibly 90, I think I said 96 or something like that. That's the pivot point is at 96.60. So anytime I'm looking for a target or I'm looking at a support below me, I'll go turn those pivot points on just to see where that data is at. I use volume profile, as you guys can see over here by these yellow bars. You should make an indicator channel for Discord. Do I? I think I have that. I have one. Don't I? No, I don't. All right. Well, I'll make one. I'll write that down. No problem. Indicators for for the educational channel too. Yeah, good idea. I'll do that. We'll throw the indicators that I use, and maybe I'll get the other admins to do it too. Cool. Yeah, that's free in the Discord. So the ribbon is called a whole ribbon indicator. It is HULL. It's the whole suite ribbon by Insilico. In Silico, SILICO. Type that in Google, whole ribbon by Insilico. It will pop up, and you have to have Trading View. You have to be, I don't know if you have to be premium, but if you have too many indicators on your chart, it's obviously not going to be any use to you. So, but anyway, yeah, I could see AMD falling to the downside. You could watch below 104.60 and take it to the downside to 102.64. And remember, if futures gap up, that's not good. Will I be calling plays out tomorrow? I will be on tomorrow, but I will not be on Tuesday on TikTok or YouTube. And I'm this is what I was just warning people about. I have this next month. I'm actually not even going to be at my desk for part of it, so I'm going to be across the country in California, in Florida, a couple of other places. So I'm going to be traveling. So I'm only going to be in the Discord. I will go live on Sundays on YouTube and TikTok, but I won't be able to make live for trading every single day. I did do Tesla already, and you can go to YouTube and see it behind you. So, or rewind it. What am I talking about? Why is it not good if futures gap up? Okay, so if futures gap up and they gap up small, right? What you have on Friday is a rejection, okay? You do not want to start a bullish day off with a small gap unless you can go and fill it and then go. So if you were to gap up slightly, that could actually be almost like, think about it this way. It's easier to get the ball rolling when you know you're going to go hit support when you have a higher average. So that gap will become a target for sellers. That's not 100%, but I would say that I'm confident below 104.70, 104.50 that you should see yourself down to 102.70, 102.50 something. Be careful. Hope you have fun. Yeah, I will be. And again, if anybody, please remember to save your key. That is the only thing that I ask you, please. If you want to, you know what I'll do? I'll change the trials back to 2 weeks since I'll be out. So if you guys do not want to miss my lives, you can sign up for the trial, but please, I'm begging you, it is going to take your debit card. It's not going to charge you, but it will charge you. It's for security purposes because we get a lot of goofballs, but you can cancel it immediately. So if you buy it or you sign up for it, you can cancel it, but you need to save the key. It will give you a key. Save it, write it down, tattoo it. Anyway, save it. Don't lose the key. Hey, can you tell that people lose the key a lot? Because they do. I lose keys all the time, so I have to reiterate myself. Yes. Okay. So last here if you guys I'm just going to give you my predictions for tomorrow. Based on what I see with Tesla, Ford, Apple, and most of the S&P stocks, my light prediction as of right now, okay? My light prediction right now based on the again, potential setup is that we could see a red day. That is what is on the docket. But I don't think that's going without a retest. So we might see a retest, and that may happen in pre market. But I do think that Tesla and other stocks could head down just a little bit. And you'll notice that there are reversal patterns that are ready to be built. That doesn't mean that Tesla can't reverse off of this. And Tesla does have a gap at 462.30, moving up into the 471s. Ford has a gap above it as well and has support directly below it, very close. So I would say that tomorrow I'm thinking we either go straight red or we gap up, flush those gaps, move down to support, bounce, and then either bounce towards the end of the day and then make our way back up. Where if I see that, I will take a swing trade. This would be the setup that I would take a swing trade. If it stays at the bottom and doesn't bounce, then I will absolutely take a swing trade still, but I will take a hedge. If it does bounce, I will take a swing trade and I will not take a hedge. Okay? So I'm looking for one of these. All right? I want to see that buyers are still present at 680 or 675. Period. Um, we don't record win rates. We record profits, my boy. Anybody who records win rates is trying to advertise to you. Your win rates, I mean, again, win rates on your own, trading on your own, um, you could fluctuate between 50 and 60 and still make substantial gains. The thing is if you take a trade and it doesn't work and you cut it where you say you're going to cut it and within your risk management, then that's still a win. And everybody is so scared that they're going to lose that the whole like Discord win rate thing, like that's not something that we record. And I don't believe the people who do. So not to say that if anybody came up to me with their win record that I would totally be like, okay, you win. But that's not what I've ever been concerned about. It's about execution. When I see a trade, if it doesn't end up working out, or if I see signs of reversal, or if I see low volume, then I'll just make the assessment there, and that's where my strength is. So I'm really good at. I mean that's where my strength is. Period. Is live trading, and being able to make just my obviously I wouldn't be here if it wasn't a skill. So, but yeah. Do I think it's wise to invest in Tesla? I think there's murky waters ahead, but I do think that it's still a good investment. So, um, but that's for me. That's my opinion, and you need to make sure that you do your own research before you buy. All right. So I have a bot that monitors media chatter. I used to have one of those. I don't have one anymore. You should get DM me if you want, then I'll take a look at it. I actually, our Discord is about to upgrade the flow. So you guys are about to have some stupid tools at your disposal. If you're in the Discord, we're gonna have the trading ticks. It's gonna be full on. So I'm gonna opening up a new channel where you're gonna be able to send requests for damn near everything. So almost everything that you need to know. You can chart it. You can pull up insider buys. You can look at different levels of option flow. You can look at the algorithms, dark pool. You can look at the charts associated with them. You can look at option charts, so it's pretty intense. So, what do I think of Amazon? I think it'll go up and then down. I still don't know if we're immediately going to see a rip to the upside. I mean, I think it has everything to do with the market because clearly, in most situations, Amazon split would send it to the upside in a bull market, but we're in a bear market, and I think that's why you didn't see that same reaction for Google and Amazon. Ooh. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. It's 10 o'clock. Let's get some rest. Hopefully you guys get some rest. Um, and come tomorrow with a plan. Lastly, last message. There has been far too many people who are taking un that just don't need to be taking the losses that they're taking. This week, remember, if you are taking a trade and you are following somebody, follow them. Do not take over the trade when they take profit or when they cut it because you think you see something else. Because if you haven't, and I'm talking to people who are new, if you cannot, or you're still in your learning process, be real with yourself and do not start to take over trades. That is why people who take signals are not successful because they step in, their emotions step in instead of just allowing the person that they are taking. And again, we want people to be able to trade their own and or understand why we're getting into a specific trade, and then explain it afterwards. And the goal of that explanation is so that you can do it on your own later on. So you can pick up on the things that we are looking at, the little nuances, and then apply it to your own trading. So, but please, guys, it is a new month. If you make a substantial gain, this is the month to be real with yourself. Okay. This is the year to do it. Finish it off this way. Be real with yourself. If you've been in this for less than 6 months, less than 8 months, or less than a year and a half, you could still be in a place where you are liable to have an account, uh, uh, not even account disposition, but a pullback. You are learning, and that's okay. So if you know that those two things are real, allow yourself to take profit. And that is something that we've been trying to reiterate for a couple of weeks. We're going to keep doing it. Take the money out because the market will do it first. If you win big, take it out. If you do well, take it out. If you didn't do that well, but you're still green on the month, take it out. I can tell you guys that my trading changed 100%. I was not able to hold a $10,000 account or anything above it remotely at all, and period. I just wasn't. And once I realized that I had a psychological, um, I had more lessons to learn beyond $10,000 that I was not in the shape to learn. So instead of continuing to bump my head into the same wall and be insane, because insanity is literally doing something over and over and expecting a different result, I just took the 10,000 out and I started with 500 again. Clearly, I knew how to do that. So I did what I know how to do. So if you're good at something, don't try and fix what's broken, or don't break what's already doesn't need to be broken. And if it's not broken, don't fix it. So, and lastly, yes, be patient this week. Okay, we are still in range. There are some decent setups, but if you're new, be patient with yourself. And if you're not new, be patient regardless. So, all right, everybody, have a wonderful night. thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I appreciate you very much. And I will see you guys tomorrow bright and early. I got my kids with me, so we're gonna be vibing. But it's gonna be fun. So, all right, everybody, peace.